Need to do a brake job on your 2015 Ford Focus. That's what I'm doing today. All right, so we are changing the rotors and the pads on this 2015 Ford Focus. So we're gonna have to take the top part of the caliper off. We're gonna have to push the piston back in and replace the pads. We'll take the bottom part off of the caliper to remove the rotor. So right here is where you're going to start to undo these 7mm Allen bolts for the caliper to take the top part of the caliper off. There's little caps there. You have to take those off. I'll get the other one. So one thing to make this job easier is I'm going to use the 7mm socket on my Ryobi impact gun to back out these caliper pins. And also, I turned my wheel this way so I got more access in here. Just makes it easier. That's one pin. That's the other pin. The pin came right out with it. That's okay because we need to lube these pins. Now I'm going to take a screwdriver, and there's a spring here on the caliper that holds the top part also onto the bottom part of the caliper. We're going to move the spring. Be careful it doesn't take off on you. There we go. Now we can pull this caliper off. All right, first of all, what I should have did is push the piston back a bit. So we're going to work the screwdriver in between the old rotor and the brake pad. And we're just going to wiggle it in there. And we're going to move that piston back just so slightly. There, that should do it. Free it up enough. There we go, our caliper's off. Take the old brake pads off now. And we're gonna put the caliper up here for now. And I'm gonna tie it up with a strap to the strut. I use a strap, I tied up the caliper to the strut. And that way the caliper doesn't fall and bust a brake line or anything like that. We have it safely out of the way. Now we're going to take the bottom part of the caliper mount off with these two bolts here. And it takes an 18mm. I'm going to try it with this Ryobi gun first before I try it with the air gun. Oh, no problem for the Ryobi. Ryobi for the win. There we go. And now we got the bottom part of the caliper off. Sorry if I didn't have my camera on there. All I did was take the two bolts out for the bottom part of the caliper. I forgot to point my my camera down. So now we're going to take the rotor off. There we go. We got our rotor off. You can see this rotor is toast. It's getting old, wore out. This is a good time to clean up the face here of the hub, the axle. I already cleaned it up, so it's not rusted, no crap, corrosion on there. So now we can just put our new rotor on. Okay, we have our new rotor, and I got these rotors at a decent price on Amazon. I'll leave a link below this video in the description. Usually rotors they'll put a oil on here to keep them from rusting up while they're sitting in stock and that. And you should take some brake cleaner and clean that oil off. These are dry. They don't have any oil on them. So we're going to go ahead and slip the new rotor on. That's in place. Now I'll get the brakes and the caliper ready. One thing I like to do is get this part of the caliper, or the part that holds the brakes, and I like to clean it up. Get the corrosion off there in these spots here. Makes everything work better, fit together nicer. New brake pads. We should size them up just to make sure they're the right ones. So there we go. They match up perfectly. Two come with the clips and two come without. Well, then these two will be for one side. These two will be for this side. So let's go ahead and we'll put these in the caliper. But first we have to push our piston back. Okay, what I have here is a homemade tool for pushing the piston back on the caliper of brakes. You could use other tools. You could probably buy them easily on Amazon, but this here is a homemade one. So we're going to go ahead and push the piston back in the caliper. But first, we're going to clean the pins that go in the caliper. We're just going to clean any old grease or whatever's on them. Dirt. There we go. Those are cleaned off. We're going to take some caliper grease like this. Just going to squeeze a little bit on there. And we're going to rub it around the whole pin. Then we're going to stick that pin back in here. There we go. Put some on this pin as well. Rub that around there. Put that in the other hole. There we go. Got that ready. A lot of people miss this step, and then they have issues. Okay, now we're going to put this part back on. And we just go over here like this, over the rotor. Put our 18mm bolts back in place. Take our impact gun, tighten those bolts up. We'll check those with a wrench in a second. We have our 18mm wrench here. Oh, those are good and tight. Okay, before we push our piston back in, we want to make sure that this rubber around here is clean, because when this goes back in, if there's any dirt around here, around this part here, it'll go in and it'll scratch your piston here, and eventually that'll score it, and then next thing you know, your piston will get stuck, it'll seize up, and you'll have to buy new calipers. So it doesn't hurt to spray around that rubber with some brake cleaner. And make sure it's cleaned up very well. It'll dry up fairly quick. So now we can put our tool on. We'll use my knee as a vise. And get this on here. There we go. Hopefully you can see this. I'll put the light on here better. Please don't fall. So we're just going to turn our tool and squeeze that piston in slowly. You have to send that piston back because you need room to put your new pads on the caliper and fit over the rotor. Now I'm a little crooked here, but we're just going to keep going with it. You can see that's working really good. That piston's gone in quite a ways now. Okay, we push the piston in as far as back as we need to now. You can see that piston was out to about here. Now it's way back. Now we can add our new brake pads. So we got the one with the clip here first. We're going to put that one in first. There we go. Make sure you don't put it in upside down. I'm going to take a little more of this caliper grease here, and we're going to put this in place here. Put some here, and this allows your brake pads to move around much easier. Gives them a bit of lube. Just put a little dab on there like that. Now we're going to put our new brake pad on here. Make sure you put it on the right way. So it can only go one way, like that. And now we're going to grab the caliper with the brake pad on it. And hopefully we can make everything fit nice. Perfect. Now we're going to line up our pins. And we're going to tighten those up. There, we got the one pin in. Be careful you don't cross thread these. Sorry if my head's in the way here. I got to get in here and have a look. Finish tightening this one up. Don't forget to put these plastic caps back in place so those caliper pins don't get corroded and seized in there. Okay, now we want to put our spring on here. This spring has to go into some holes here. So now we're going to bend the spring into place. I want that to go there. There we go. We have our new brake calipers, brake pads are all installed. If you want to see another video I did on this 2015 Ford Focus where I was removing the battery and putting the battery back in, it can be a little difficult for some, so be sure to go to this video right here to the left and see how it's done.